Hi everyone, it's me, Jeff. Okay, I know. It's obviously not really me. It's one of our avatars named Joe. But I couldn't resist the green pants and white shoes combination thing I got going on here. And I figured, what better way to talk about new media than to use new media? So I picked Joe. But as you all probably know, I can look like anyone I want. I can be a man or a woman, of any size, shape, race, or age. Sometimes it's pretty funny. I'll switch up my look from time to time as we go along, just to keep things interesting. So anyway, some of us from CTB were asked to take a few minutes to talk about health communications and the new media environment. The best place to start is really just to explain why we're looking at new media applications in the first place. So why is CTB looking into new media at all? Well, to put it as simply as possible, multiplexing. Yep, multiplexing. From a communications perspective, multiplexing our health communications and education channels is the next logical step for us to take as we improve not only what OCE does, but how OCE does it. Multiplexing allows us to take all the information we want to communicate through cancer.gov and distribute it across multiple channels in ways that tailor and enhance NCI's messaging. It's become an important thing to be able to do in health communications because practitioners and patients have become health information consumers, and multiplexing our communications is actually the next logical step in terms of health communications technology. Let me show you what I mean. First, everything starts and ends with cancer.gov. Cancer.gov is the repository of all the cancer information we can communicate. Now, from a communications perspective, cancer.gov is what is called a simplex communications channel. Information goes from cancer.gov to the American public. It's one way, all the time. And that's its job, to get NCI's research out and to make it available to the public. There are over 40,000 pages of cancer-related information, all inside cancer.gov, and it all faces out. The Cancer Information Service, 1-800-4-CANCER, is a duplex communication system. An information specialist and an information seeker can communicate simultaneously in both directions. This two-way communication allows us to deliver the right information at the right time to the right people in the right way. It's a really nice feature of the Cancer Information Service. I mean, we all like talking to a real human sometimes and having our questions answered, right? Which I'm thinking might sound strange coming from an avatar, but you get the picture. So the reason we're looking at new media is because it allows us to proceed to the next step and multiplex cancer.gov. We use new media to create multiple simultaneous exchanges of information on channels that people prefer and in ways they prefer. This in turn allows OCE to tailor the messaging through the application of new media technologies. We're looking at new media because new media allow us to distribute cancer.gov across multiple channels to tailor the messaging to different audiences looking for some type of information about cancer. Multiplexing is taking the key messages on cancer.gov and sending them across the different channels that people get their information from. So the question now is, what's all this new media we're talking about? Okay, here's what new media does. Start with cancer.gov, and let's check out one terrific resource, the PDQ, and look up breast cancer screening. There's a lot of health communications and education going on here. By using new media to multiplex these health messages, we can do things like build a virtual community full of people needing to get screened for breast, cervical, or colon cancers, and create a virtual community health center where healthcare providers can test new clinical processes in order to increase screening rates. The all hands thing is a nice touch, huh? And we can virtually simulate an entire clinical scenario for educational purposes by using online technologies. Or someone might be looking for information to understand metastatic cancer on cancer.gov. New media technologies allow us to actually show patients what cancer.gov is describing, and they say a picture is worth 1,000 words. We can combine our award-winning plain language talents with flash video and explain things better than ever. For example, here's metastasis rendered graphically. When it comes to having to explain to the millions of Americans every year who need to understand metastatic or stage 4 cancer, animations such as these can be very helpful explaining it. This is another thing new media adds to cancer.gov. New media channels, like YouTube, let OCE's own Susan Weiner tell millions of women just like her how important enrolling in a clinical trial can be. The clinical trials team that produced this video knew the power of being able to paint a visual picture and connect to people through the use of video. Then they used new media right, in this case YouTube, to make it available to the millions of Americans watching YouTube every hour. That's the new media model in a nutshell. And while the video is playing, you can click on the URL to cancer.gov to get all the information we have. But YouTube is also a particular type of new media called social media. And social media is really what allows the multiplexing of health communications. Social media platforms like YouTube, blogs, and forums allow the people we're trying to reach to talk back to us. Hundreds of thousands of people linked as users of these platforms like Facebook and MySpace and Ning share the information inside cancer.gov with everyone else, and ideally it travels from person to person to person. The phrase going viral used in connection with new media isn't accidental. Imagine being able to spread the latest NCI research findings as easily as the common cold. So that's about it for me. We're looking at new media technologies because it is the next step, from a communications perspective, in the direction of optimizing the effectiveness of all the work that we do here in OCE. New media have created a new health communications environment, and it is our challenge in CTB to make the seemingly extraordinary ordinary. So back to you, Jeff.